Guruji, good evening. Just one compliment. Today is the Engineers Day, so congratulations all the engineers in the world. You are wonderful engineers, you are connecting the world, you are transforming the world, you are bridging the universe together. There are 7 wonders in the world, for me, you are the 8th wonder. Thank you so much. Two questions. People are always worried about doing right thing. Why they are not worried about doing things the right way? And the second question, what happened to our land, India? Why all the god, goddesses, all the saints and sadhus and sadhvis from ages, why they are born in India? We have produced maximum number of gods. We have produced maximum number of devis. If you think about every town, every district, every place, there are some god or goddesses. What happened to our land? Why anywhere else in the world, there are not so many gods or sadhus or sadhvis?
So, today is Engineers Day, as you said. So we're talking inner engineering. About how come India is supposed to have 33 million gods and goddesses. This happened when our population was 33 million. But after that, we got little shy of creating gods. Because people from outside came and said there is only one God, and we started feeling shy about our many gods, and we reduced it to 24. Most Indian homes at least have 24, not 33 million, all right? These 33 million, as I said, happened when our population was that much. Tell me, how beautiful the world would be today if everybody had their own god. The problem arose only when 100 people gathered behind one god. That's when the fight started. If you had your god and I had my god, we got nothing to quarrel, at least in the other world. Maybe local property we may quarrel, but if problem comes in the local property business, we can always make a deal, isn't it? Yes or no? But when we start fighting about our God, there is no end, there is no closure to it, because you can't stop, you're willing to die. But if you had your God, I had my God, no problem. And if you have a child, we'll create another God for him. If you have a grandchild, we'll create another God for him. There would be no fight, isn't it? Above all, this came up because India is a godless culture. When I say godless culture, there is no sense of the God in India. All the gods that you worship, whether you're Rama, Krishna, Shiva, whatever, these are all people who walk the geography of that land. We saw them as exalted beings. In their lifetimes, they lived in such a way that they inspired a whole generation to such a point that we call them devas. A deva did not mean a god. There was no word called God in India, okay? This is an imported word. Today we are using it. Otherwise, there never was a word called God in any of the Indian languages. We said devas and devatas. It's very appropriate that in India today, they call Sachin Tendulkar as the cricketing god. It's very in sync with our culture because somebody became an extraordinary achievement, almost superhuman kind of achievement. Now we say he's a deva, he's a cricketing god, because nobody ever played cricket like him. Like this, in every sphere of life, we had gods. Whoever rose beyond what is considered normal, we said he needs to be bowed down to, he needs to be emulated in the society. Not one god who is up there that you never saw, but many gods who are here who rose above what is considered as normal. Let me tell you where this comes from. For example, Rama is a one of the most popular deities. If you look at Rama's life, this is going to make me unpopular again, because I had a huge reaction in Texas when I spoke something like this, because they don't listen. First, when the first word is said, already they're reacting. So please don't react, just wait, listen to me. If you look at Rama's life, it is a series of failures, okay? His entire life. He was a rightful king, coronated, just married, newly married. For some political reason, he ends up in the forest, in the jungle, with his newly married wife. His wife is not some tribal girl, she's a princess, not made to live in a jungle. Of course, in your movies, they showed you Rama and Sita floating around with golden deer all around them. That's not how a jungle is, believe me. I have lived in the jungles by myself alone for weeks on end. That's not how a jungle is, it's hard, okay? If you want to survive there, it takes extraordinary strength and it takes a beating. If you leave any of our ladies here in the jungle for 3 months, after 3 months you can't recognize them, they will become like that. Yes, everything will change about them. They won't look like this. So Sita, a newly married princess in the jungle, is not a romantic situation, okay? It is not. So seeing their plight, his brother leaves his own family and walks with his brother and sister-in-law because he knows the hardships that they will go through. As if that was not bad enough, then she gets kidnapped and taken to Sri Lanka. And the man becomes despondent. You know, I was in a town, a small town in Andhra Pradesh, and I was speaking to about 6,000 to 8,000 people are there and a few school children. One little girl, 14-year-old girl, stands up and asks, Sadhguru, they say Rama walked all the way from Ayodhya to Sri Lanka. How is it practical? Is it practical for a man to walk from Ayodhya to Sri Lanka? I said, see, you're a 14-year-old girl right now, you're a little girl, but in a few years you'll find a man. When that happens, suppose you got lost, would you want a man who will walk the distance to find you, or somebody who finds a practical solution in the neighborhood? Well, even that little girl knows she wants a man who will come all the way. So, he walks all the way wanting to find his wife. Obviously, she means that much to him. There is no flight to Colombo, walking down the subcontinent over 2,500 miles, okay? But she must have meant that much to him to go there, wages a war, burns down the city, gets his wife back. Again back in the kingdom, something goes wrong politically, again he sends her to the jungle, this time fully pregnant. No sonogram. So he doesn't know whether it's boy or girl or boys or girls or what. Then she goes there and delivers twins, 2 boys. He doesn't know. When they were 14 years of age, he wages a war with them and he could have killed them. If really some tragedy must happen to any human being, means knowingly or unknowingly we killed our own children, this is the worst thing that can happen to you, isn't it? He almost got there. He almost killed them. By some fortune, that was avoided, and then Sita dies in the forest without ever seeing him or he ever setting his eyes upon her again. You don't call this a successful life. If any one of these things happen in your life, you will be broken, isn't it? But all this series of wrongs happened in his life, but he still remained balanced, never became vengeful, never became hateful, never became an angry man. If he had to wage a war, he waged a war. If he had to do whatever he had to do, he did that to the best of his ability, but never became a slave of the external situation. It is this we worship. He is not a success. One series of failures. But we worship the man because it doesn't matter what the world threw at him. It could not in any way disturb him. He went about doing what he has to do to the best of his ability. It is this we worship as godliness, not being superhuman.